Hey guys, welcome back to the Poketable Podcast. This is episode 5 of a small podcast where two small shop owners are, sitting down talking to each other about the market, the hobby, and all things Pokemon. I am your host, Logan from Zippy's Card Corner, and I'm joined by my other host.
Alex with Poke Legends TCG. Guys,
Awesome.
if you would, if you're watching and you enjoy the content, please make sure you like and subscribe, and please share with all your friends. It's super important. Thank you guys. So that we would be forever grateful.
We would. And be sure to leave comments, questions. We're going to go through a couple that have been asked to us by,
Yeah,
viewers. So if you want a chance to be featured on the show, leave us a question either on Instagram or in the YouTube comments. So we can start off by, talking about new Pokemon Legends EA game is coming out in October. We've already talked about this before. That game is going to introduce new Mega Evolution Pokemon back into the game. And we're already seeing, the new Mega Evolution Mega Block with Mega Evolution coming out in September. I think that the game is going to just catapult, more people into sort of this, exciting hobby. And, what they've gone and done the past 2 weeks is they've actually introduced two new Mega Evolution Pokemon, one being Victory Bell and another being Hawlucha. Those were just revealed in, small separate trailers, and I imagine that they'll continue to do that over the next couple of weeks.
yeah, and they, I think they straight took Rey Mysterio as inspiration
Yeah,
for Halloween.
I think so
But yeah,
too.
and guys, another thing to keep in mind as they do these reveals, I would not be surprised if we get a couple sets, after the reveal where we get like some Pokemon cards of these new Mega Evolutions. So
Yeah.
definitely be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, no, I actually made a video where I think that I'm speculating that the first couple that are going to come out will also be introduced in, probably Inferno X. I think that it's realistic to think that, considering that set will come out after the release of Pokemon Legends EA. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yep, we got the Mega Victory Bell and the Mega Halusha. How do you think those look? Do you like those?
Hawlucha, I like.
I like
Mega
Halusha.
Victory,
Yeah.
Mega Victory Bell. It's a goofy looking Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think that I think there are some things that people are not being very nice about with that
Yeah.
Pokemon. But but I think the design is cool. I think I've seen people kind of explain why it's designed like that, and I can get behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it my favorite? No, but I can respect it.
Yeah, yeah. So from the megas that they've done so far, how many would you say, like, percentage wise, are hits versus misses?
So, are you talking about new Mega Evolutions that they've revealed?
Well, like megas in general. Like,
Megas in general.
I think they hit on all the starters, like Mega Blastoise,
Yeah.
Mega Charizard. I thought Mega Gengar is cool. So they've had quite a few hits, but there have been some misses.
Yeah, I would agree. I think yeah, I would agree. I think I like a lot of them. I'm not a huge fan of some of them.
Yeah,
In terms of the new ones, Mega Dragonite I thought could have been a lot cooler.
yeah,
Uh, Mega Victory Bell, I don't have a huge connection with that Pokemon.
yeah. Same.
But I can understand why people might be disappointed with that one.
Yeah.
Um, Hawlucha, I think is a cool Mega Evolution. I didn't watch the anime, at least the older anime or the newer anime, and apparently Hawlucha is a big character in it.
Mm,
But
okay.
I don't have a huge connection with that Pokemon in general. I was surprised that we were going to get a Mega Evolution of that one because it just seems so. Uh, I don't want to say this because it's gonna.
There are a lot of other fan favorites that haven't gotten
Right.
a Mega Evolution yet. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
So,
sure. Yeah, I'm with you.
uh, but it's there, and I think there's rumored to be at least 20 other new ones coming. So
Cool.
it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, 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 for sure. So, guys, keep tuning into the podcast because we're gonna talk about new megas as they're revealed. So, that's awesome. And then, did you see the new Chinese 151 Volume 3 get released? Did you see
Yeah,
the sort of
so
preview for that?
it's I think it's the Gem Pack Volume 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw it. It has some exclusive new art rares
Hmm.
that I'm super stoked about. I think they're a good, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be cool. And
Yeah.
it's definitely so we've had two gym pack kind of volume 1 and volume 2 sets so far. The first one I think was it showed off sort of the anime horizons Pokemon and their characters. So you had like Pikachu, Fuecoco, Sprigatito, and Quaxley. And then volume 2 was evolutions. And so you had
Oh,
like
I see.
all of the you had Umbreon, Leafeon, Sylveon, and who's the other one? Maybe it was I forget. Oh, it was just Eevee. And these were exclusive, and people went crazy for them. So I think Gem Pack Volume 3 is going to be another hit. Uh, it's going to be exciting. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, yeah. And that
Do
kind of
you
leads
think?
us into a question from one of our viewers. I know we
Sure.
talked a little bit about this during, one of our past podcasts. Have you thought any more about bringing in Chinese Pokemon cards and having them available for your shop?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are a little hesitant about Chinese, simplified
Hmm.
Chinese, just because it's new and, like prices have skyrocketed.
Yeah,
And so I think there's a little bit of, confusion and a little bit of speculation about why and is this going to last? Um, I think regardless of whether or not it lasts, we're definitely in a period where people are interested in simplified Chinese.
yeah.
And as a business owner, I think I've had other people, I've had customers express their desire, to see if I'll stock, simplified Chinese, and I think that I think I will. I think I will. I think that this set is releasing on September 26th, by the way,
Hmm.
which is the exact same day that the English Mega Evolution set releases, and the same
Yeah.
day that Japanese Inferno X releases
Isn't that crazy? September might be the craziest month that we've had
in a long time.
in a long time. Yeah. I mean, that month is going to be nuts. So, the question, verbatim was from Chris C1812. Thank you for posing the question, by the way, Chris. Please keep sending them to us. But his question was, will you be selling the 151 Chinese box in particular?
Now, Alex, will you be selling?
I, I am heavily thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards yes.
Yeah. Yep.
But we'll see. What I'm a little bit worried about is because of everything releasing in the coming weeks. There's only so much that I'm worried about oversaturating, my store.
Sure.
So there's Inferno X that's going to be coming out. Mega Evolution's going to be coming out. I mean, just those two alone
Yep.
are super hyped sets. So we'll see. But I'm leaning towards yes.
I think that makes sense. I
Yeah,
can understand that
yeah,
point of view.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So, but yeah, stay tuned, Chris, because I'm leaning towards yes.
And
Um,
I just mentioned that we're gonna get Inferno X. Speaking of that, this past week it was actually officially revealed.
Officially
So
revealed. Yeah.
we had teasers about it at the World
Hmm.
Championships 2 weeks ago, but we
Yeah.
officially got the Japanese reveal. It included some new cards to show off, but it also included the artwork for the booster box and the booster pack.
Yes.
So
Yes. And stay tuned for that too, because there are a ton of cards that have yet to be revealed for Inferno X.
yeah,
So I mean, there could be a Mega Gengar. There's rumors of there being a special art rare for Charizard to go along with the Mega Attack Rare Charizard that was already revealed. So stay
Yep.
tuned, guys. There's some more surprises to come in Inferno X.
Definitely. I imagine over the next 2-ish weeks we'll start to see a lot of leaks and reveals.
Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting. I know for a fact that in Inferno X, it was revealed in the reveal, that Sharpedo, Mega Sharpedo is going to be introduced.
Okay.
So we'll see that Mega, which is just another one of the 50 at this point that we'll see over the next block. Um, yeah, that's it for Inferno X. Moving on, we have the De Minimis. De Minimis has officially been canceled.
Yep, that is
Now,
officially over.
I'm seeing news overnight that, you know, there's already some stuff playing out. Alex, do you want to just give your thoughts and kind of go over it?
Yeah, so right now, as it stands now, the de minimis rule is officially over, which means no matter how much you buy from, a Japanese uh, distributor, no matter how much you buy, you still have to pay the tariff of 15%. So
Yep.
before, there was a de minimis rule where if you bought $800 or less, you were exempt. But now
Yep.
that is over.
Yep. Yeah, and
Um, and so I guess what that means is now everyone's on an equal playing field.
right.
Before, smaller stores had a little bit more of an advantage because we could buy, the 800, under the $800 threshold, and we could sell a little bit cheaper than some of the bigger stores because
Right.
they couldn't get away with, not paying the tariff just because they're
Yep.
so big. But now that's over. I think that's the biggest effect it's going to have on, in particular, to our stores.
Yeah, and guys, just for a little, little math lesson, little breakdown. So imagine you had an order as a store that you bought for $1,000. You bought $1,000 worth of product. Okay, well that gets, taxed because it's over the $800 limit, which means that you're adding on another $100, if you're doing a 10% tariff, to your order. So that's what you were gonna sell. Maybe let's do 10 boxes, for example. 10 boxes, each were $100, $1,000 order, tack on 10% tariff. Now you're looking at $1,100 total. Okay, well, you know, you were gonna list those for 110, but because you're adding another $100, you need to list them for 120, 115, just to make up that extra that tariff. And that was sort of what a regular store had to do before.
Yeah,
Now everyone has to do that. Kind of like what Alex said, whether it's you're buying a single box for $50 or you're buying 10,000 boxes for however much. It's all the
yeah,
same.
yeah. So it's basically artificially, as of right now, the tariff is 15%. So it's basically artificially raising the price of foreign cards
Yeah.
at 15%. Nothing to do
Now,
with supplier demand.
there are a couple of Pokemon stores that are, creators that have talked about their thoughts on this. And some people suggest that we have already priced in, this tariff because tariffs technically went into effect a couple months ago for Japan.
Right.
We just had the de minimis rule introduced, or it existed, so we could, kind of not have to pay it. Um, Again, there are other stores that have already come out and said that they think that the market price, already prices in the tariff. And I don't think they're wrong. But I
Right.
also could see this being a sort of moment where stores argue that, like, okay, I'm going to charge more anyways. But I'm curious what you think.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it makes sense that the market price is more influenced by the bigger stores than the smaller stores.
Hmm.
Um, the Brian from Pokey of the world. The market price is that's where most of the product is coming out of, right?
Right,
It's not the smaller stores.
right.
So it does make sense that the market price was already kind of set from
Hmm.
when the tariffs were initially introduced.
Right.
Um, but I think the one of the biggest things is it's going to make it harder for newer stores to enter into the market.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
because there was that advantage, right, where you could entice new customers. Hey, look, I am selling my product for 10+% less than
Yeah,
than
exactly.
than market. So I think I think that's I think that's the biggest thing. Um, and by the way, for those who are wondering how this process works, so when you buy the product from the Japanese distributor, you're not charged the tariff up front. You're invoiced for it later. So don't think like, oh wow, I got all this product and they didn't charge me a tariff. You don't pay the tariff up front. You get invoiced for it later. So make sure you price your product accordingly. And it can take a few weeks.
Yeah.
There are people out there that say it could take up to 6 weeks sometimes. So I wanted to throw that out here and make sure store owners that are watching keep that in mind because it's
Now,
a brand new thing for a lot of people.
that's a great point. I think that when you're buying directly from Japan, that is usually how it's going to go. I will say eBay has already come out, updated their site to include information and instructions on, well, warnings about what happens when you do buy from international sellers in, Japan or wherever. They have said that they will hold your product before until you pay. So it's a little
Mm,
different than what Alex and I have seen with our stores. But eBay is saying that the carrier will charge the tariff before they deliver it. How they do that, I have no idea. Over the phone, through an email where you click a link, I don't know. Um, but the thought is that there will likely be a lot of headache for individuals going through eBay now, through international sellers, um, just because every order that you make now is going to have to do that. Um, so I'm not trying to shill small businesses, but uh, you know, the moving forward, for most people, I think it will be even more convenient to buy from Pokemon stores that are based in the US that, import their product, so that they're not having to deal with that, especially because the prices aren't going to be that much better anymore.
right, exactly. So, and that's another sort of, silver lining about the de minimis rule getting canceled. It doesn't make sense for, um, consumers that are interested in opening Japanese to buy straight from Japan anymore.
Right.
Because sometimes it would make sense if you bought 4 or 5 boxes at a time, and you bought it at wholesale basically. You would just pay the shipping, and you'd be under the $800 de minimis rule. Now you can't do that. So now you're paying shipping, and then you're also paying the tariff, and to make the shipping worth it, you'd also have to buy in bulk. It just doesn't make sense anymore to do that.
Yeah.
So I do think that is a silver lining for new store owners.
Yeah. So, if you're a store owner, keep that in mind.
Yeah,
If you're a customer, keep that in mind.
right. Exactly. So no, super super interesting topic. It's going to be interesting to see if the everything stands the way it is
Right. How it plays
for
out.
for long term. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. But as of now, that's how it stands. Now,
Yep.
I kind of want to shift focus.
Yeah.
So I really gotta give Logan some praise here. He went from 500 followers to over 10,000. He's approaching 11,000 now. Last time I checked, he did it in 3 months, and I really want Logan's perspective, his perspective, his strategy, his sort of cadence when it comes to content creation, because there are a lot of big content creators like Alex Ketchum, Pokey and E. They preach this
Market
thing
Positive.
about uploading daily, count uploads, not likes, be consistent. And although I think that's a huge part of it, I don't think that's enough anymore. And so Logan, I'll let you take it from there. What is your take
Yeah.
on content creation and the general like just count uploads, not likes kind of viewpoint.
Yeah. So, you know, going from 500 to 10,000 followers was a process. And uh keep in mind that I am I'm a business owner. I'm here to, reach a certain audience. Um, and all of these creators who'd say count uploads, not likes, are completely right. I think at the very minimum, you need to be posting daily, or not daily, just consistently. Whether it's once a week, okay, cool. Try and do more, right? Always have that thought of like, what can I be doing better? That's what I think Alex is saying right now, where being consistent and uploading constantly is just the starting point. That's not
Yeah.
enough to just do it and forget it.
Right.
I think I see so many accounts that are posting the same pack openings every single day, and they're arguing that I'm uploading daily. What's wrong? Why am I not growing? Um, and the next step is like, okay, you're uploading consistently, uploading daily. What are you doing better from yesterday or the week before? How are you improving? So, to kind of speak a little bit about my journey, Alex actually was so I followed Alex 3-4 months ago at this point, um, as a owner to shop owner to shop owner, and he issued a challenge to other shop owners saying, hey, you know, post a reel every day, have your face in front of the reel and see how that improves your sales. I said, okay, my business has not been moving at all, and I'd been doing this for about 8 months at this point. I was about to call it quits, but Alex issued this challenge, and I said, what the heck? I don't have anything to lose. Might as well give it one last shot. So I committed. I posted daily for 30 days, and I think that I had a video. So most of my videos were going, 1 to 200 views. That was it. And I think I had one or two videos that hit, over 20,000 views. I think within the first week, I had one that hit 20,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's those spikes, right? It's those spikes of, success that you see that it continues to say, okay, this is working. This is worth it. And it only happened because if you look at my videos from then, uh, every single video was slightly different in terms of the setup, the lighting, the hook, the script, because I was so focused on making sure that I was not just uploading daily, but improving. I think over that first 30 days, I binge watched so much content creation content on YouTube, on Instagram, understanding what it was that content creators were doing to be successful. And it was, I learned all about the hooks, learned all about the scripting. I learned all about how to make it more efficient. AI is such a big thing now. How do I use AI in my, workflow? I did all of that. And, from video one to video 30, it's night and day difference. And from video 30 to now video, over 100, uh, it's a night and day difference. And that's that's the key, it's a lot of hard work and time and effort, but I mean, like, that's the key.
Yeah.
uh, and so I think that for small business owners, that creator, content creation strategy is necessary these days, especially when there's so many stores online that you're going to be competing with. Like, why the heck would they choose you over
Right.
Alex and I? Why the heck would they choose Alex and I over other bigger fish?
Sure.
That question is there all the time, all
Yeah.
the way up until it's like, why would they not just go to Walmart? Um, and so you have to stand out, and the way that you do that is through content creation most of the time nowadays.
Yeah.
and to be successful at that, you know, kind of what Alex said, you got to be consistent, but you have to just improve as well. Like those are the two biggest things. I'll pause there. Alex, any thoughts, comments, questions that I missed or anything?
Yeah, so I think there are a few things that our viewers can take from what you just said, Logan. So one, uploading consistently is only one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So that's number one. And then number two, you have to improve, but you have to improve with purpose. So
Yeah.
I think it's a wrong frame of mind to think I'm just going to post daily and then I'll just get better eventually. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's good enough. So Logan, you talked about it a little bit. You put hours and hours and hours into research
Yeah.
into, okay, how do I make my hook better? What do I do with my lighting to make sure it's visually appealing?
Yep.
What sounds do I incorporate into my videos to keep my viewers' attention? I mean,
Yep.
there's tons and tons of work that goes into this content. And you have to do your research with purpose because I don't think, you know, getting better on just on your own, just thinking you're going to get better over time is enough. So I really wanted to throw those two things out there. But
And
yeah,
yeah, no, that makes sense, and I completely agree. And I think another thing to add, there's a lot of things to add,
yeah,
that are just not coming to my mind. But right now, in 2020, midway through 2025, we are on the cusp of seeing content boom. And what
yeah,
I mean by that is I mentioned earlier, AI is a thing. AI is improving so quickly in the content creation space. Seeing different stats, but we are going to be seeing multiple times the amount of tens of hundreds of times more amount of content per day by 2030 than today. Um,
yeah,
and what that means is that you need to start now. You need to be creating content now. You need to be improving now. Um, I just, I cannot emphasize it enough that if you want a Pokemon business to succeed, it is going to be so much easier to do it today than it will be in 3, 4 years. Um,
yes,
that's just the truth of it. So keep that in mind, and don't let I don't like the thought. I've been in the shoes, but oh, I'll just do this, I just need to do this and then I'll start. Or oh, I'm just gonna wait until this and then I'll start. Like no, start today. Upload the garbage content. Like
yeah,
that's gonna be enough for you to realize, okay, what does it even look like to upload to Instagram? What do these buttons do? Like have that be the takeaway for, your first video. Not that, you got 50 views. Uh be that okay, I kind of understand what it's like now. 10 days, after, uploading daily from then, it's like, okay, I'm getting quicker at, uploading the video. I'm getting quicker at kind of hitting record and maybe editing a little bit. And you'll be so surprised by like the consistency, that you've done, and the effort that you've done to improve as well. From
mhm,
day one to day 10, day 10 to day 20, and so on. Like, it's so important.
yeah. And I think that brings us into a good segue to another question. So
Sure.
PokeLab 9 TCG just asked, "How do I start? Just guide me." That's what his
Yeah.
question was. So, Logan, what do you think are the first few things that a person should do if they're wanting to start their own store? Like, let's break down the first three things, and they don't necessarily have to be in any particular order.
Sure. Um, I mean, my thoughts nowadays are a little bit different than what I even did. I think that content is so important. I
It
think
is.
it's the lifeblood of small businesses, not just Pokemon, but you know, with social media these days, uh, you can have a very small business without any customers, and then have a viral video that performs better than a Pepsi ad because of the way that social media is these days.
Yeah.
Um, and so what I mean is, understand your content strategy before. Like understand that you're going to be doing content. I think number one is understand, what you want your content to be, and start it before you even order a box of Japanese cards, because I promise that you order that first box of Japanese cards, who are you going to sell it to?
Yeah.
uh, it's going to be kind of like, you're learning to walk before you crawl. You're
Hmm.
learning to run before you walk,
Yeah.
and it's just that you know I think you're wasting time, jumping right in, buying product and trying to sell it, um, than if you were to just start uploading content, and getting better at it. And, even just 10 days in, realizing, oh, this is what it's been like, how it's been for me. I'm already getting ideas of what I can be doing once I do get boxes, once I do start my business. I
Sure.
think that's step one in my book. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting take. So you definitely want to have your socials created if you haven't yet. Get your Instagram created, TikTok, YouTube, get those created. Start making content. Just start talking, just start speaking in front of the camera. It's okay if, your first few videos aren't very good. Okay, like what we talked about earlier. If you commit to getting better, then you will. If you start doing your research, look at what some of the other bigger content creators are doing. Doesn't mean you have to copy them, but I do think it's important to understand how they're capturing viewers' attention and keeping it. I think that's important. Um, so start speaking in front of the camera. Start building a recognizable brand. Okay, so I
Yeah.
do think having some sort of logo is important. For your socials, you just want your viewers to know that uh, okay, oh hey, this is PokeLab TCG. This is who you want that recognizable right away. And to build that effectively, you have to upload content.
Yeah.
Uh, and do what we talked about earlier. Upload consistently. Focus on getting better. I think that's number one. And then once you start getting a good pace, then you're going to need a platform. And I tend to recommend having your own, with Wix or Shopify or what have you. But there are a lot of other stores that just use eBay, TCG Player, platforms like that. So that's number one, though, for sure, is just start creating content. That's what I would recommend. And that's I think that is the number one thing um, that you could do as a new store owner. Just start speaking in front of the camera because for I feel like for a lot of store owners that's uh, the hardest thing to do is just to start. Just turn the camera on, man.
Yeah. I know that there are a lot of other businesses that, you go through their profile and you'll see that, oh, they're a Pokemon business. Oh, I see a link. Okay, cool. And their
Right.
page is empty,
Yeah.
or their page is just, more pack openings or pictures of cards. I've been there. I mentioned earlier my business was flat, dead in the water for eight
Yeah.
months. It's because that's what I was doing. I was relying on paid ads for a bit, and it still wasn't giving me enough sales. And so, yeah, it's just like you're never gonna stand out with opening packs or posting your collection or posting your inventory. Um, that's just not how the U.S. market works. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah. And another thing I'll say to PokeLab TCG is if you want to start, if you want to commit, uh, just I would just throw out there that it is going to be a grind. It will not be an overnight thing where as soon as you post, product on your store, it'll just sell out. That's not how it works.
yeah,
And there are going to be a lot of ups and downs. There are going to be a lot of challenges. So I would just, I mean, I don't want to discourage you, but just keep that in mind when you start. It will, most likely be a slow grind for the
I
first few months.
mean, yeah, I don't think it's discouraging. I think it's just being honest.
Just
I
being
think
honest. Yeah.
it understand that it's not easy. That it's hard for a reason, and it gets harder the more success you want, right? It's like,
Yeah.
if you just want to have a couple of extra bucks for lunch money, it's gonna be hard, but you can do it a lot quicker than if you're trying to build an empire, that sells
Right.
all these TCGs, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's tough, but that's part of it, right? Like nothing is worth doing if it's easy. And
For sure.
so I just understand that all these other businesses that are seeing success right now, those that are seeing even more success than Alex and I, and
Sure.
more success than those guys, like
Yeah.
understand that they all started from zero as well, and worked their way and grinded their way up. So, Alex and I are trying to do it. If we're trying to do it, it's like you can do it. You just have to
Sure.
understand and commit, right?
Yeah. For sure. And to kind of give a little picture into that grind, Logan, I really want to get your take on what your cadence looks like. How do you pick your topics?
Hmm.
Um, what sort of process do you go through when writing your scripts? Um, so I'd really love to get your take on
Sure.
what your grind looks like.
So, Alex, when you issued that challenge, that was sort of my intro to content creation. I had dabbled in it, right? It's like I had tried to do videos, but like I wasn't posting them consistently. I wasn't getting better. It was just kind of, amateur garbage. Um, when I started posting daily, I committed to the challenge. And in the beginning, what that looked like was every single day, uh, I would think of an idea. I'd come up with a script on my own. I'd maybe use ChatGPT to kind of flesh things out. Um, and then I'd find time in the day to hit record, find time in the day to edit it all. And that process probably took a couple hours every day.
Mm,
Uh, and I kept going because I saw that I was getting better. The views were increasing. And so that was enough for me to keep going.
mm,
I'll warn you, it's not always like that. Um,
yeah,
you still got to go. You still got to do it.
still gotta do it.
um,
Yeah.
I think, like I mentioned earlier, we're over 100 days in of uploading daily, and my process has definitely been streamlined. It's not perfect by any means. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but we're way better than what we were, 100 days ago. So at this point, I'm uploading 7 videos a week. Sometimes, I'll have a day where I'll post two, but almost always it's 7 videos a day. Um, I am usually script writing one of those days of the week. Let's say Wednesday, and I'm coming up with the ideas for next week's videos. The next 7 days, I do Sunday to Sunday is kind of my cadence. So I'll schedule all my videos for the week on Sunday. And so, let's say Wednesday, the Wednesday before, I'm coming up with what the videos for next week are going to be. I'm coming up with the scripts, for them. I use ChatGPT a lot more than I did in the beginning, just using them to come up with a rough draft for kind of what it is that I want. I've created individual projects within ChatGPT, given them certain specific instructions per series, and I'll get to that in a second. And I can basically give it a very minimal input, and it understands what it exactly I want. And so it will give me an outline with a full-on script. And at that point, I just have to go in and kind of adjust. And so at this point, in terms of coming up with next week's videos and script writing, probably all in all takes about an hour for 7 videos, which is a lot better than what it was 100 days ago. Okay, so now I have all my scripts. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So come Sunday, a very casual day of my weekend, Um, I can take all those scripts, I can film in 45 minutes, all 7 videos, and now all of a sudden I have, 45, I have all 7 videos available to start editing. Now, this is where I can be a little bit more disciplined. Some days, some weeks I don't edit all of my videos in one day and get them scheduled. But I usually try and do at least 3 or 4 to start the week. So it's that Sunday, I'll film and I'll also edit 4 of those videos and schedule them to be posted. And then, throughout the weekdays, when I feel a little less pressure to get a post out today because I've already scheduled it, I can wake up a little early in the morning, just edit for 30 to 45 minutes of the 5th video that I haven't scheduled, days before. And so there's no pressure to do it today. It's like, oh, I just spent 30 minutes. I didn't get it done. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. And so I'll keep that cadence for the rest of the week. And all of a sudden, it's Sunday again, and I've posted all my videos. And if I'm on top of it, that Wednesday before, I've also done the script writing and planning, for the next week. So it's a cyclical process, and has seemed to work for me in my schedule lately.
Yeah, and something I really want viewers to take from what you said, Logan. So not only has Logan committed to posting every day, not only has Logan committed to improving, but he's also put time and energy into being more efficient. Okay, how
Yep.
can I use ChatGPT? How can I batch my videos to
Yep.
where, I'm not trying to script and record and edit in a single day?
Yep.
That's actually, I've actually personally taken a lot of that from Logan on how I'm approaching,
Yep.
how I want to approach content creation, because it is important. It's important to not only improve but to be more efficient for your own sake.
Yeah.
Because something that we haven't talked a lot about on this podcast is burnout, right? How
Ooh.
do you upload every day with everything that goes into that, right? Research, and by the way, me and Logan have full-time jobs along
Yeah.
with this. Like we're not big enough yet for this to be our full-time thing. So how do we put that much time into growing our businesses and not get burnt out? So I think that's an important thing that I want viewers to take from hearing Logan just say.
Um, yeah, with regards to burnout, I was definitely feeling it,
Yeah,
on day, 25, 26, 27 of that 30-day challenge.
yeah,
And that was sort of, I had seen, I had seen growth. I had had a couple videos, do really well. And I knew like that my store was getting customers, in an organic way than they were before. And that was enough motivation to kind of sit down and be like, okay, I'm feeling burned out, but I have to keep going. How do I do that? Um, and it, it's like it's really just understanding, the basic stuff that we've talked about, right? Like you got to keep uploading consistently. If you stop, the algorithm is going to hurt you for that. And if you don't have a customer base already, like you don't have an excuse. And
yeah,
then on top of that, got to be improving. If you're improving, you will see better views. It's just as long as you're uploading consistently and you're improving, you will see that growth. And
yeah,
then you know optimizing it. Understanding that burnout is a normal thing. Okay, well, how do you make it sustainable then?
yeah,
I knew that uploading daily was not going to be sustainable for the next 5 years of my business.
right.
No way. Um, so how do I make it just a little bit more sustainable? Even if it means, okay, well, in 6 months I'm going to be burned out of this situation. Who
Right.
cares? I'll have grown enough to where my audience knows me, and I'll have that luxury of being able to take a day off or something. I don't know. Um, so burnout is a thing. It's completely normal. You got to find ways to optimize. Um,
Yes.
Understand that, like, you know, you see I'm not even gonna give myself an example. You see Alex Ketchum, big Pokemon content creator right now who opens packs daily. He started uploading daily shorts about 400 something days ago. He grew from like 4,000 YouTube subscribers to over 200,000 simply because he put in the work to daily upload. And he's
Yeah,
talked about his journey and how hard it's been. Um, and so, think to yourself, like, okay, I feel tired. I feel burned out. This is rough. You know, do you give in and take a day to to take a break, or do you say, but if I push through and a year from now I look back and my life is completely changed like Alex Ketchum's was,
yeah,
what would you say it was worth it to not skip that day? Um,
right,
Now again, like it only works if you put in the work. And it's not enough to just post daily. You have to
right.
improve, right? You have to
Yeah,
understand the whole, you have to understand it all.
yeah,
Really, you do. But if you do, and you upload daily and you're consistently getting better, man, like a year from now, if you did that, like, oh, I guarantee you, anyone could see huge success. So
yeah.
burnout's real. You just have to optimize for it.
Yes, exactly. And doing what you can to give yourself some breathing room too. I mean, batching your content especially. I mean, if you're trying to do everything in one day, right? Every day, you're filming, you're
Yeah.
editing, you're writing your script, and then you wake up with the flu or something. That's tough, right?
Yeah.
But if you already batched your content 4 days ahead, that's not that as big of a deal, right? You can get better. You already have your video scheduled for the day. Okay, so that's the other thing too. Like, planning ahead is super important if you want to post consistently and, well, lack of a better word, stay on the algorithm's good side.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I
It's a
think
real
that's
thing.
I think that's important. So, and anyone who's done sports can also kind of understand, like, taking a day off just because you don't feel like doing something. That's just a bad habit to get into.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're sick, it's one thing if you're injured, but you know, not doing it just because you don't feel like doing it, I think uh, I think that's just a bad habit, and I think if you don't control that feeling, it'll it'll take over. The one day every couple weeks where you take off because you don't feel like it, that'll start turning into once a week, and then you'll start getting into okay, well, I'm just gonna upload once a week now, and so I think it's important to stay mentally tough when it comes to uploading.
Yeah. And
Getting-
one last thing on this topic is, you mentioned sports and you have all these professional athletes that, you know, are, quote unquote normal people until they put in the work. They
Right.
put in the effort and the time, the years of training to get to where they are.
Yeah.
There are some, God-given people who have, God-given talent to get them there. Um, that is few and far between. Most of these people just work their butt off.
Yeah.
Um, and having the mindset of, uh, you know, oh, can I take this day off? Or, oh, is it okay to skip today? It's not the end of the world if you do, but your mindset shouldn't be like, can I skip? Your mindset should really be, can I post even more? Like,
Right.
that's what, if you shift your mind, like, that's where you'll start to see huge success because you won't be caring about the views, the likes, the whatever. It's, you'll be posting more often just naturally. Like it takes time.
Yeah.
You will see success.
Yeah.
And so having that thought process of, oh, I posted 7 videos this week. That's awesome. Could I have done one more video?
Sure. Yeah.
Is kind of how I think about it.
Yeah. And also think of it like this, right? Um, X amount of good content equals X amount of followers.
Yeah.
X amount of followers equals X amount of customers.
Yep.
So it really is a numbers game,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about good content, okay, that you're consistently improving and getting better at, right? Um, but it really does turn into a numbers game. How many times can I upload good content on a consistent basis?
Yep.
That's really, I think that's what really is going to make the difference.
Definitely.
And Logan, I really want to get more into your sort of day-to-day cadence. So, one of the things that I'm a huge fan of that you've done is you create these series. So
Yeah.
not only does that make you more efficient, right? You don't have to think of, okay, what kind of topic, do I have to come up with? But I also think it gives viewers something to kind of follow along with, right? Where, oh wait, this is part five. This is my first time watching it. Let me go see what parts one, two, three, and four were,
Yep.
right? So it kind of gives a segue into getting your viewers to watch, you know, other videos, just from, your part five of your series. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I mean, I think you nailed it, right? I think
Yeah,
having a series really simplifies planning for the week,
yeah,
right? If I have 4 or 5 series going on and I know that, 2 or 3 of those series are really easy to make and film, all of a sudden I have a good 5 days of content planned, that, scripts are done. Videos take, 3 minutes to film each. Editing is super simple because I've, optimized the CapCut templates and whatever. Um, so it's like I can knock out, 4 or 5 videos in an hour and a half. Um, all in all, scripting, filming, and editing all together. And it's all because of series.
yeah,
Series give you, good, repeatable content. And kind of like what Alex was saying, it's like series are good for, the psychology of a viewer. If you like episode 6, Instagram just released a new feature where you can link reels, where episode 6 can be linked to episode 5. So when they finish watching it, a little pop up, and you tap it, it goes to episode 5 immediately. So it's like you can binge content now on Instagram, if you're going through a series. So it's super important. It simplifies things a lot. I'd recommend to do simple series,
yeah.
really make sure that, you have 1 or 2 like solid defaults that you can create 2 episodes each a week, that are easier to film and edit and whatnot. Um, that's all there really is to say about it, though.
Yeah, I think doing those little things to make it easier on yourself to be successful long term are important. So anything you can do to do that, batching videos, gearing your topics, at least some of them towards series. And another thing I want to make sure we put out there, and Logan, you and I have talked about this. One thing I feel like new store owners, they kind of get caught up in is trying to create unique content.
Hmm.
Okay, I think it's important to kind of put your own spin on it, but I wouldn't waste too much time in trying to talk about a topic. Oh, like nobody has talked about this. There's
Yeah.
so many content creators. I think that's a losing battle. It's okay to talk about the new set that's coming out in a month, even though that there's been 50 other content creators that have talked about the same thing. Okay, it's still your unique voice. Okay, you could put your own unique spin on it. Um, but don't waste time trying to come up with unique topics. I think that's another thing I wanted to throw out there.
100% agree. Couldn't
Yeah,
agree more. The idea, and if I'm wrong, that's totally okay. The idea is not to be a content creator. uh,
yeah,
you will become one simply by doing this, but you are not a content creator. You are a business owner. And business owners do not try and make viral content because they know that viral content is not a way to get followers and customers. It was, 3, 4, 5 years ago on social media. It's not anymore. It's consistent content. It's better to get five. It's better to get 1,000 views of video than to get a million views on one video and the rest are, stuck at, 100, 200, 300 video views.
Yes.
Um, I promise you that.
Yes. Yeah. And another thing I want to talk about, I know we're getting close to time, but so Logan, you started at about 500 followers, 3 months ago, a little over 3 months ago. And then, you took on the 30-day challenge and then you've uploaded daily since. And
Yeah.
you don't have to go into, specific numbers, but when it comes to capitalizing on your success, how much of a difference has that made on your sales? Like you went from 500 to, almost 11,000. I want our viewers to know what difference that has made for your store.
Uh, night and day is almost an understatement.
Hmm.
Um, so this was I started what in May,
Yeah,
mid-May.
yeah, I think May.
I think January through May, I think I maybe had 10 sales. Um, and they were all through paid ads.
Yeah,
Uh, I was like, what the heck is going on? What's going wrong? I bought all these Japanese boxes. Why is no one buying them?
yeah,
Um, and now I'm selling out in on launch day. Um, and I am strategizing on how to get more product because I cannot get enough of it. Um, and that has felt awesome to know kind of the hard work is finally paying off. Um, yeah, what I'll say is that if I hadn't done this, like I would have called it quits, a month or two ago. Um,
Mhm.
but now that I see it and sort of, what you can do with it, um, it just it motivates me more to keep going. Like I think I had a goal. Yeah, New Year's resolution goal. I said I said uh I want to sell 25 orders this year just because of how um the couple months before I'd gone when I was first starting, how slow it was and how unsuccessful I was seeing. I was like, I want to hit 25 orders this year.
yeah,
Uh, it's gotten to the point where um, I do much more than that. I did much more than that this month. Um, and
you had a
I
goal of 25 orders for the year,
for the
and
year.
you hit it in 1 month.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And we are like with how I'm thinking next month's gonna go, we're gonna do even more. And the month after that, I
Yeah,
think even more. Um, like I'm already thinking about it. I already know what sets are coming out. I already know sort of, yeah. So it's been night and day. And I
yeah,
and I also just want to say that like it's not just me. I see other businesses that are putting their content out there and growing and seeing success as well. So I'm not, some poster child for this. Like, I'm just another example.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize, guys. I mean, this just happened.
Yeah,
It just happened in May. Like
yeah,
as soon as Logan kind of just, as soon as he committed, and yes, it took tons of hours, tons of work, tons of effort, right? A mental grind. And this is a good, I think, topic to end on from what we've talked about during the podcast. If you do a lot of the things that we talked about, I think it's inevitable that you're going to find success.
yep,
Um, and Logan just spoke about it. I mean,
yep.
I think it is amazing
Yeah,
that from May till to now, he went from 500 followers to approaching 11,000 by doing a lot of the things that we talked about during the podcast. So I think we'll end on that. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Poke Table. I'm Alex of Poke Legends TCG,
And I'm
and
Logan from Zippy's Card Corner.
yes, and please make sure to like and subscribe. Please share this video, guys. Super important to us. Thank you. You guys take it easy.
See ya. Thanks.